This part of the chapter has to do with trends in business, corporate social responsibility, recycling, what companies are doing to help the environment and other people.
Not again.
Bow down before Recyclops!
5 years ago, corporate said we had to start a recycling program for Earth Day. So Dwight took the lead on that and introduced us to a very close friend of his named Recyclops.
Happy Earth Day, everyone. I'm Recyclops. Did you know that an old milk carton can be sawed in half and used as a planter?
The next year, he really stepped things up.
Who has put a number 7 plastic in a number 4 bin?
A year after that, Recyclops really began to take shape.
Recyclops will drown you in your overwatered lawns.
Then tragedy struck Recyclops when his fictional planet was attacked by some other fictitious thing. I can't remember.
Recyclops will have his revenge.
I think this was also the year that he renounced Earth Day and vowed to destroy the planet he once loved.
E-commerce is the buying and selling of products online or over the internet. This brings us to global economy. These two really go hand in hand. Global economy is an economy of everyone in the world. So most businesses are using e-commerce to buy and sell goods to the global economy. Business owners and managers really need to be aware of this trend in order to meet a wider market and to increase their profits. Instead of selling to those who just live in the area close to their business, now the entire world is their market. These two trends are really focusing on products, selling a product. So on the other hand, the service economy is also on the rise. The service economy is providing a service instead of a product to others. So some services that you may have heard of is like Uber and Lyft. Other trends in accounting that we'll be talking about are customer orientation, lean practices, and the value chain. We'll be discussing these 3 topics individually next. This next slide is going to discuss customer orientation in more details. Customer orientation is an emphasis on the customers, really making the customer the most important factor of the business, listening to customers' wants and needs, and customizing or changing the business based on what the customer wants. Not all businesses are set up like this. A lot of businesses really just focus on sales or focus on the product, but a business that develops customer orientation really is focusing on what the customer wants, or always reaching out to the customer, and like I said, changing based on what the customer wants. For instance, OCC, I would say there is a very big customer orientation there, the customer being you, the students. What OCC does is they're always sending out surveys, they're having professors talk with students, we are adding degrees, taking some away, based on what you, the customer, the student wants. We also have training programs geared towards how us, the professors, can really service the student better and listen to their wants and needs. Our next topic is lean practices. There will be 2 topics here that we will cover regarding lean practices. The first is total quality management. Total quality management focuses on the quality of your products and business activities by applying quality improvements to all business areas. One of the goals is to seek and uncover waste in the production process and to have employees try new methods to improve quality. There is a focus on higher standards. For example, think about Walmart and Target. Which one of these do you think has more quality-like products? I think the consensus here would be that Target's products have a higher quality than Walmart's products. The second lean practice topic is just-in-time manufacturing, also known as JIT, J-I-T, manufacturing. This is a system that acquires inventory and produces the product only when needed. The main advantage to this is that there's a low level of inventory kept on hand. But one of the disadvantages is that this type of inventory system is more susceptible to disruption than a normal system would be. And I do have a short video explaining um, this topic some more.
I'm Alex Berman, and you're watching Selling Breakdowns. Whenever you buy a complex piece of equipment, such as a TV or a car, do you ever wonder how exactly it all came together? Well, ever since the Industrial Revolution, that how has been a vital question for many businesses. Today, we're going to look at how in post-war Japan, Toyota helped to create one of the smartest production systems that we have, named Just-in-Time. We'll look at how it works and how you can apply the philosophy and practices to many other areas of your business. After World War II, Japan faced some difficult problems. They didn't have a lot of cash, resources were scarce, and there wasn't a lot of free land to expand factories. However, Taiichi Ohno at Toyota managed to turn these problems into advantages by slowly creating the just-in-time system. The idea didn't come all at once. It's more that through the 50s and 60s, various changes were implemented and improved until the 70s, where the wider world began to realize the benefits and adopted a similar approach. So, what is just-in-time? The philosophy is to make the entire production system only work with what it needs and to minimize wait times between each stage. The biggest savings is normally around inventory. Before just-in-time, a company would keep a warehouse filled with the parts and raw materials it needed. When supplies were getting low, they'd reorder when they had just enough to keep going until the new delivery came. But Toyota realized, what if you just keep making that same order as soon as the next one arrives? That way, you never need to keep this stockpile of spare parts. The cost savings were huge since warehousing is seriously expensive. You need to pay for massive space, power, staff, security, and for all the parts that are just sitting there waiting, not making you money or adding value to your product. And this is the core of just-in-time. You look at each area of production and ask, is this adding value to the product? If it isn't, maybe there's a better way to do it. You cut everything down to its most efficient form with almost no room for error, which is where the risk in just-in-time lies. Toyota used Japan's relatively small size to its advantage. You could rely on suppliers delivering exactly on time because they only had to travel small distances. This is important because if you get problems with supply, it can shut down the whole system. But it's normally worth the risk because the savings are huge on inventory and staff costs. More than this, though, you're forced to create a working philosophy that there's no room for error. You don't have spare parts or spare time, so you have to make sure everything functions perfectly. Often, efficiency comes at the cost of quality, but not in this case. In just-in-time, you're forced into quality in order to be efficient. That's why it's applicable to many other areas of business. The best way to think about it is if we simplify everything to two approaches, just-in-time and just-in-case. With just-in-case, you're trying to minimize risk by always giving yourself a buffer. You'll carry extra stock so you can swap out faulty items. You'll overstaff certain areas because they've occasionally had too much work to deal with. You'll support a service that just a few customers ask for. With just-in-time, you don't simply cut these areas and cross your fingers that nothing bad happens. No, you work out how you can avoid them happening in the first place. Because this is money that's wasted unless a bad thing happens, you're effectively investing in mistakes. Better quality control means staff can trust the stock that they have so they don't need a backup. As for workloads, the only reason one department is hit by a workload that they can't handle is because there's not enough visibility between departments. If your sales team know the capacity of production and its current status, then they won't put it in order that can't be filled. And as for offering a service with limited customer appeal, well, maybe you cut it out completely, or you just find a way to merge it with other services so the resources it requires are absolutely minimal. When done well, the just-in-time philosophy should be good for morale too, because the whole point of it is telling your staff, I'm trusting you to perform consistently. And I think most of us respond well to that kind of respect.
As you can see from the video you just watched, there are a lot of great benefits and some disadvantages to just-in-time manufacturing. Next topic we'll cover is the value chain. The value chain is the series of activities that add value to a company's products or services. Think of a business's processes from start to end, starting with research and development, acquiring materials, producing the product, selling the product, and then even after they sell the product, dealing with customers, customer service, and warranties. Do each of these steps in the business process add value to the company, to the business, to the product? If not, what can be done better? What can be taken out? What can be done more efficiently? This is really what the value chain talks about, making sure that there is value in every step of the business process. Our final topic will be corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is a huge, huge trend that almost every company and business is thinking about. Corporations must consider the demands of employees, suppliers, and society. This goes beyond law, meaning that a lot of these companies are taking part in corporate social responsibility, or CSR, and they're not required to do so, but they want to. It's focusing on the triple bottom line, the 3 Ps: profit, people, planet. So not only are we thinking about how can we best make money, but also, are we helping our community? Are we helping people? Are we helping those in need? Are we donating to charities? Are we giving opportunities to those who need it? Are we helping those less fortunate? Are we helping the planet? So are we, recycling? So that's where the video at the beginning from The Office comes into play with Recyclops. So they were focusing on recycling. So what's going on with these different companies, and what are they doing to help the planet? Are they recycling? Or are they trying to reduce waste? There's many things that they could be doing. For instance, I went to a few hotels recently where they had a sign on the bed saying that they won't wash the sheets every day if you don't want them to, in order to save on resources. Another hotel I went to, the key card actually turned the lights on and off. So when you left the room and took the key card with you, then the lights would automatically go off, helping to save resources again. I do have a short video to share with you, and then a link from a website of what a company is doing about this.
So now we'll buy our ice cream. All right, make ways.
Ben & Jerry's, as you know, has a 3-part mission statement: product, social, and economic.
And especially the social mission part of it is probably why I've stayed with the company as long as I have.
I like that. Very good.
Our approach to social mission is to actually work our way from inside the pint out. So where we want to start is with the dairy. And so we made a stand on making sure that we support all the family farmers from which we sourced our dairy, so that they can have more sustainable, profitable family farms. And we work our way through the pint to the ingredients like sugar, cocoa, banana, coffee, vanilla. Those 5 core ingredients are all fair trade certified. As we get all the way to the packaging, how can this packaging be environmentally sustainable? So we get Forest Stewardship Council certified paperboard. As we prosper, they prosper.
We want to use our business and our business model of linked prosperity to show that the communities where we're sourcing our ingredients from, where we're selling our products, and where we manufacture our products are a part of the prosperity of our growing business.
And Ben & Jerry's, in the spirit of transparency and really trying to be a better company, decided to issue a social report and an environmental report.
Like the role of my team in Linked Prosperity is helping bring that visual identity to life.
To use this company to create positive change in the world.
The link I have on the PowerPoint takes us to the Starbucks Social Impact website. If you take a look through this, it's actually really interesting on all the things that Starbucks is doing to help out people and the planet. So just a couple things on here. They source ethically and sustainably. They help create opportunities for others. So this is really focusing on the people aspect. Leading green retail, strengthen communities. So as you can see, a lot of companies are focusing on this. It's not just Starbucks or Ben & Jerry's, but there's almost every large corporation out there. If you go to their website, you can see what they're doing for the people and for the planet, their corporate social responsibility. Next, we'll be doing a practice problem. This is the last one on your handout. Hopefully you still have it with you and you've been following along. So this is the annual report from Hyatt, the corporate responsibility report. And remember, Hyatt is a hotel chain. It has information based from the company, and we'll kind of decide if it's part of profit, people, or the planet. For instance, number 1, sales revenue totaled $4.4 billion. Take a moment to think about the 3 P's. Is that speaking of profit, people, or planet? It's talking about money, so it's profit. So I'll put a PR for profit. Number 2, they have increased women in management positions by 8%. So what is that speaking of? Talking about women here, so people, how can they better help people? So in this case, people would be women. Number 3, reduce water consumption at its hotels. Which of the 3 P's do you think that is? That would be planet, because it's helping the environment to reduce water. So I'll put a PL for planet. Or you can even write environment if you want. Invested in career programs in Brazil. But speaking of career programs, which one do you think that is? That would be the people. Number 5, operating cash flows totaled $473 million. It's talking about money here, so that would be profit. Number 6, earned awards for best LGBT workplace. Well, it's talking about the LGBT community, so that would be people. Number 7, 84% of hotels recycle at least one waste stream. Talking about recycling here, so what would that be? Planet, the environment. Invested in reading programs for young students. Speaking of young students here, so that would be people. That's the social impact. So people. Focused on maximizing long-term shareholder value. Which one do you think that is? It would be profit.